And welcome to the campus of Kennesaw State University in Kennesaw, Georgia, for the first of two quarterfinal matches in the Atlantic Sun Women's Volleyball Tournament. Neil Solons alongside my analyst, longtime volleyball analyst Phil Bush. And Phil, this first matchup will feature the number 5 seed in Stetson and the 4 seed Florida Gulf Coast. And Florida Gulf Coast was expected to be here. They were the regular season champ a year ago. Stetson's a big surprise, and they play very different styles, don't they? One with patience, one with power.
Yeah, they really do, Neil. And what's going to be interesting is when you've got Florida Gulf Coast, you've got a powerful team that can really bring the heat from the hitting positions. When you've got Stetson, what they do a lot is they'll make a lot of rallies go long, and they can frustrate a team like Florida Gulf Coast. This is going to be a really interesting matchup of the 5 and 4 teams.
Well, let's take a look at some key players for this matchup, and we'll begin on the Stetson side. If they're going to be patient, they need their setter to be good, and Kayla Weller is important to that.
Yeah, Kayla Weller really has to bring it tonight from a setting perspective, because when you're a patient team, you may have a lot of long rallies, and you've got to make sure that you're setting the right player during the rally, and that's going to be critical for this team tonight.
And on the Florida Gulf Coast side of things, Jessica Barnes is a big part of their offensive attack when she's going well.
And she can really hit the ball in a situation where there are a lot of trouble for teams to really struggle. And she's one of the top hitters in this conference. And she not only is a great hitter, good blocker as well. And she's the athlete that, can really make this team go fast.
Earlier this season, the team split the first two meetings between one another, Florida Gulf Coast and Stetson. Very different matches played.
Very different matches played, and what was most interesting is I always like to look at the matches later in the year, Neil, and the one late in Fort Myers, Stetson beats Florida Gulf Coast on their home floor, and that could be a harbinger of things to come here just a few weeks later. It'll be interesting to see what happens.
Let's take a look at the starting lineups for these two teams. Kaylee Melville was one of the top hitters in the league and a second-team All-Performer. Tiffany Kramer was on the All-Freshman team for Stetson, which has won 18 matches this year, and that's the most they've won in quite a while. First time in their postseason since 1995. On the flip side, the Florida Gulf Coast team, they were expected to be a very good side this year. They won a total of 13 matches, though. They were injured early. They've got 2 all-second-team performers in the league, and Olivia Messner and Caitlin Holmes. Should be a real interesting matchup as we see our officials. That is Michelle Prater and Doug Darling, along with her today for the first of 2 quarterfinals between the 5 seed Stetson. They are in green, and the 4 seed, the higher seed in white. That is Florida Gulf Coast.
Well, you've got a very experienced officiating crew to start out with. You don't want any problems officiating. Michelle Prater, one of the best referees not only in this area but also in the country. And she's done a lot of very high-level volleyball matches, so this will be good for have her up.
Gigi Meyer, the setter, serves. And a good block for Florida Gulf Coast to start. The combination of Karina Mambuka and Caitlin Holmes.
Yeah, and that's what... And Florida Gulf Coast is a power team, and they like to be powerful at everything they do.
Short serve by Meyer.
Not passed well.
Well, they're into the net. Now in transition, this is Stetson getting an opportunity, but home right back. Nice dig by Alexa Droz, the libero. And a good finish off the block for Stetson. That's Kaylee Melville.
One of those long rallies we talked about, Neil. It kind of goes on for a while, but that's the kind of rally that Stetson likes to play. They don't mind that.
This is Erica White serving just in. And the set into the net. And leads to an opportunity for Stetson. And the outside hit not put down. Dug out by Candace Prentice, but she misses. And Stetson goes in front by a 2-1 score. Stetson's head coach, Tim Lesh, he's done a terrific job. Again, they're in the tournament for the first time since 1995.
That's astonishing. It's great.
And a nice swing by Caitlin Holm to answer. Side out to Florida Gulf Coast. They got the score up at 2.
And there's that power we talked about. And boy, oh boy, now you add more power in because you now just got Jessica Barnes in the front row for Florida Gulf Coast. And the fireworks can begin anytime now.
Caitlin Holm led her team in kills in the regular season with 341. Stetson receives well. That's Whitney Masters, the libero, with the dig. Nice response by Stetson. The tip, though, blocked by the combination of Mambuka and Marlena Moeller up front. Florida Gulf Coast takes the lead back by 1.
Yeah, we call that a trap set, Neil. There was no place for that hitter to go that time, and that's what we call a trap because you had nowhere to go, and it was a great defensive work, just not a very good set to end the rally.
Another good block by Florida Gulf Coast. Melville blocked a second time. They'll run the backside. And a good dig by Florida Gulf Coast. And a double hit. Florida Gulf Coast head coach is Dave Nichols. He's in his 6th year. They were the regular season champ a year ago. And they now are even at 3 after that double hit. Gives Stetson the chance to serve. This is freshman Madison Akins. Libero Masters with the dig, and there's Barnes off the bench with a good swing. And a nice roll.
Good defensive work.
Good backslide, and through the block. Point for Stetson.
You know, we talked, Neil, up front about Weller making good decisions, and that time she goes to the right side, the backside, and beautifully set ball. What you want to do as a setter is you want to get your hitters one-on-one matchups, and that's what she did that time.
Ellen Hawks with the kill. Marlena Moeller off the libero. It'll lead to a transition opportunity. Sets a little tight to the net, but a net violation.
No, it blocked off the antenna. Blocked off the antenna, and that goes back over to the Florida Gulf Coast. You know, volleyball at Florida Gulf Coast is a big-time sport. It's not only big indoors, they have a sand program there that is coming along very, very nicely.
In fact, they have players on this team that work on both sides.
Yes.
Stetson actually has separate teams for both. Most of these kids don't do both. Nice kill by Barnes to give Florida Gulf Coast the lead.
Boy, she is got a fast arm, and when she goes up and swings, it's really difficult to block with the power she's bringing.
Whitney Masters with the first service error of the match, and we're now knotted up at 5 again. Back and forth we go. That's our 3rd tie. There's a good feed from Meyer to Messner for the kill.
Yeah, and the offense goes speed. They want to run the offense on the Florida Gulf Coast side as fast as they can, and that makes it a very difficult one to defend.
Karina Mambuka with the serve. This is the freshman Kramer with the kill.
That's just all power right there. The 6'2" freshman just goes up and hammers the ball, and she's a player not too far from here. She lives from out of Noonan, Georgia, out of Landmark Christian High School, which has got a very fine high school volleyball program.
The 2 locals in terms of being in Georgia on this roster.
Yes.
Nice dig by Melville, sets up Kramer. Masters, a libero with a nice dig, and Barnes off the block again. Nice backslide.
Back to the right side again. This time dug pretty nicely, though, by Florida Gulf Coast. It's going to be a net violation on Stetson that time, putting the ball back over into the Florida Gulf Coast side.
So Florida Gulf Coast takes the lead back.
Pinder back in for Barnes in the back row as a back row sub, and clearly Pinder is considered to be the better back row player in that situation.
And Barnes obviously much more devastating up front. Terrific stuff block by Caitlin Holm.
Yeah, and that time Weller should have gone someplace else because Caitlin Holm was there waiting for that set on the right side. So again, this is the nature of volleyball as you go back and forth figuring out what you've got, particular rotations.
First 2-point lead for Gulf Coast. Not a good reception. Nice job by Weller just to get over the net. And using the block well was Olivia Messner for the point.
Yep, very nicely done. And starting to see some more of the power of volleyball that Florida Gulf Coast is really known for.
So they've scored the last 3 points.
Not passed well again. So you see now why Pinder is in the game as a serving specialist in the back row. And quick timeout taken by Stetson.
Well, you mentioned at the top that this had to be a match where Stetson, if they are to win, would have to have longer rallies. In the last few points, they've not been long rallies.
No, they haven't. They've been fast rallies, and that's what FGCU wants to play.
We'll be back with more in just a moment. You're watching the Atlantic 10 tournament quarterfinals on ESPN3.
For 35 years, the Atlantic Sun Conference has supported its member institutions in their commitment to the hard work, dedication, and determination of building winners for life. As the ASUN aggressively seeks to expand opportunities, its student athletes and the institutions they represent stand among the nation's best in academics, athletics, and service to their communities. At the ASUN, the aim is the successful balance of student and athlete. The Atlantic Sun Conference, at its best, building winners for life. Championship action is when the ASUN is at its finest. That's why you'll want to visit asunphotos.com. ASUN Photos is present at every ASUN championship, capturing the action, including those must-have shots you may have missed or want to save for a memory. We understand your passion, so when you're ready to relive those favorite moments, players, and special memories, start with the experts from asunphotos.com.
Back to the Atlantic Sun Volleyball quarterfinals, a 4-point run by Florida Gulf Coast. They have a 10-6 lead, and Stetson had just used a timeout to get the momentum slowed a bit. Tiffany Kramer off the nice feed from Weller, able to stunt that run.
Yep, stop the run, and interestingly enough, not a great pass again by Stetson, but Weller did a nice job really shaping that. Now she goes back to serve, and that makes a bigger front line for Stetson.
And a good serve by Weller, too. Dug nicely. A good block by Stetson.
That is a very sizable front line for the Hatters, and they took full advantage of it that time.
Tiffany Kramer and Erica White combining for the stuff block.
Yep.
But a service error by Weller.
Yeah, now one of the things we're going to see, you're going to may go, wow, he missed a serve, but you know, sometimes coaches realize you're going to have to trade off some missed serves for some tough serves. It's the nature of this sport.
Leah Messner serving for Florida Gulf Coast, and a transition opportunity. Weller will go to the right side, and they're able to convert.
And thus far, what Tim Lesh has seen, the fine coach at Stetson, is his setter going to the right side has by and large been a pretty much a winning combination for the Hatters.
Tiffany Kramer, the all-freshman team selection, now serving. Karina Membuka handles, nice feed from Meyer, but the miss wide by Holm.
Yep. And Holm has tried to do too much with not a set that was to her liking, and here we are back to a one-point game again.
So it was 10-6. Now it's 11-10 for the last 5 for Stetson.
Not passed well at all.
And this will lead to a tip, and actually a pretty good tip.
Yes, it was. A nice pickup in the back row there.
So a free ball opportunity. Here's Holm off the block. Nicely done. Weller goes off the block too. That was Kaylee Melville.
Yeah, nicely done that time. And Melville did a great job on the dig originally. She's the one that kept that rally alive as she was flat out bringing that ball up.
Very good jump serve from Kramer. Backslide to Moeller. She misses, and Stetson's in front now.
And Florida Gulf Coast trying to do too much without great sets. And one of the things you have to do is you got to keep your attack under control. And right now, Florida Gulf Coast trying to do a little too much each time. Oh, that almost crawled over the net and dropped in.
Instead, it's
awfully close.
Second error for Stetson from a service standpoint, so we're knotted up again.
But they're serving 12 tough balls, Neil, and that's what's important, I think, to Tim Lesh right now.
Yeah, he wants them to take some risks.
Yes.
Nice stuff block by Holm and Mambuka. They've done that several times in this first set, and they're back in front.
Yeah, and again, we're going to see that at times, you know, when you've got this situation where you've got teams that are fairly evenly matched, both sides know they've got to take some risks.
Another stuff block, Mambuka and Moeller this time as they take care of Melville.
And a quick warning from Michelle Prater there to the Florida Gulf Coast bench about a little bit of talking to the net, and Michelle Prater will, trust me, will have none of that.
Short serve this time from Gigi Meyer. Good dig by Masters, the libero. Holm with a roll shot. Now up front, a tip. And here's Holm again off the block.
Good
Nice
defensive
job.
work by Stetson.
Indeed. And the finish. Madison Akins, one of two freshmen who sees a lot of time for Stetson with a kill.
And again, the defensive work by Stetson is not surprising because it's what they're known for. They don't mind winning long rallies, and Tim even said, hey, we'll win some rallies ugly. It's okay. We win the rallies.
Florida Gulf Coast wants the shorter ones.
Yes.
There's a nice angle and cut shot from Melville. And Mambuka with a quick hit off the block.
I needed the ball to go down, though. It was an easy ball back to Stetson.
And coming from the back row and blocked that time was Christine Pinder, and now we're knotted up at 14.
And Hawks has that block. Boom, right there.
Right in the middle, Ellen Hawks. Tallest player for Stetson.
6'3", and she used all of it that time.
Set was a little too tight. And a miss that time. Went wide, so it'll go to Stetson, and they've got the lead once again.
But, back and forth, and it's kind of when each team gets into the style they like, Neil, is when they're best, and when they don't, they really get a little frustrated both ways.
Muller with a tip shot as she was a little too tight. Had a good set that time.
No, but that's
was
why.
Because she's a middle blocker.
Yeah, but that's why she's a middle blocker, not a setter. Ellen Hawks had tried to make a poke at it and didn't quite get it where she needed to, and she said, hey, that's my bad, but you got to keep that ball alive and in play.
So knotted up at 15 as we go back and forth.
Back to the right side. That was not, again, when you don't have a great set, it's not good enough to put the ball over the net. You got to keep it in play.
So back and forth we go in this first set. Florida Gulf Coast up. Caitlin Holm now serving for the Eagles, and she misses, so we're knotted at 16.
Holm going for that was a tough serve she was going for that time. Deep backline ball. That's a tough ball to pass. If it had been close to being in, it could have caused lots of troubles on the offensive side for the Hatters.
Here's the freshman, Madison Akins. Holm able to handle. Backslide, blocked. Now Barnes off the block gets a point. She's had a couple of good kills using the blocks.
Well, she does a really good job of hitting around the block, and even if she contacts the block, does a good job of working the ball through. And she's got great vision as a hitter. She knows where the ball needs to go.
Her second kill of the match. This is libero Whitney Masters. The set was too tight.
Yeah, but Weller found a way to keep that ball alive somehow.
Blocked out of bounds by Stetson by Messner.
Yes.
And so Florida Gulf Coast gets the point and a 2-point lead.
And 2 points in this first set is a big deal right now. 2 points has been about as much as it's been, except for that one run that Florida Gulf Coast had. And guess what?
We gave it right back.
We're back to 1 point again.
Third service error for Florida Gulf Coast. Probably more than head coach Dave Nichols would like at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Short serve.
That's a tough ball, too.
Off the back row, Holm with a miss. And she's had a tough first set. Her third error. She has just one kill.
Tried to do too much with a ball that she really couldn't kill the way she wanted to.
She's been a little erratic in the matches against Stetson this year. Nice block. But Barnes will get a real good swing and a terrific dig by Drost.
Back to the right.
And it leads to a point. It's off Florida Gulf Coast. And Stetson's in front by 1.
And there is a timeout taken by Dave Nichols because he didn't like the way this was going. This was becoming way too much like a Stetson Hatters set.
Well, Olivia Messner has had a good set for Florida Gulf Coast, but they really haven't had many of their other hitters involved in connecting.
You're right. They really haven't, Neil. And it's been about, they've not gotten a lot of great passes to connect on great sets. So it isn't that surprising. It's a little bit frustrating, if you're Florida Gulf Coast, because again, you want the ball to go up and then go down.
And so far, you look at Stetson, they've got diversity in their attack.
Yes.
They so far have 4 players with 2 kills apiece.
And that, for this stage of the match, is pretty darn good, actually.
Stetson, you see their record. They had hit a little bit of a skid going into the tournament, but it really hasn't shown so far in this first set. They're playing with good energy.
They're playing with good energy, and the fact that they beat this Florida Gulf Coast team in their building about 3 weeks ago has to give them some confidence coming in that, hey, we certainly know we can play with this team. We beat them once already.
And that basically got them into the Atlantic Sun tournament for the first time since '95.
It's a long dry spell.
Kaylee Melville, a senior, second-team all-conference player, serving a good serve.
Great save by Barnes.
Indeed, leads to a free ball. And now the freshman Kramer is stuff blocked by Mambuka. We're tied again.
Well, and that's actually a great block because, it was a solo situation. The usual rule is when you got a solo situation, one blocker against one hitter, advantage hitter. But that time, she said, I don't think so, and put that ball right back. Nicely done.
And now Karina Mambuka, a senior from Naples, Florida, right near Florida Gulf Coast University, will serve for the lead.
Back to the right.
Ellen Hawks dug out nicely by Masters from the back row home, who's had a tough set. Kramer leads to a free ball. Weller goes wide, and another stuff block. This one by Olivia Messner and Florida Gulf Coast in front. This is where they're at their best when they're blocking.
When they're best and they're blocking, they are a dangerous volleyball team. I don't care who they're playing. And they're doing a nice job last couple of rallies, really delivering a message.
Their sixth block of the first set. But a nice answer by Stetson, and we're tied again.
Yeah, 20-20. And if you're a coach and you get to 20-20, either you got to like your chances because all you got to do is get 5 points, and typically a team can easily get on a run.
Alexa Drost, the libero to serve. The opposing libero digs it out, and Messner misses. It did catch the line.
Not by a lot. I thought you were right in your call, Neil. I thought it was out myself, but hey, that's where we have professional lines people back in the line.
So another kill for Olivia Messner. That is her fifth of this first set, leading either team.
Yep.
Gulf Coast up one. Christine Pender with the serve. And another good block. Tiffany Kramer not able to convert on the kill. Here's Holm, and she is able to convert.
Yep. Beautiful shot to the back line that time by Kramer. Used all the court, and there's a quick timeout taken by Tim Lesh, and he had to make that call.
There's a 2-point match, or a 2-point game in this first set. 22-20, they need it. Florida Gulf Coast with the lead. They've led by as much as
4 I think,
points,
earlier. Yeah, 4 earlier.
10-6. And we take a look at the numbers. Normally, the 4 seed has beaten the 5 seed in the Atlantic Sun tournament. Both teams struggled at the end of the season. Gulf Coast trying to win on a neutral site for the first time this year.
Right. And so again, I like to always take a look at the record that goes back a ways and see kind of where they are. So I think in this situation, it'll be interesting to see kind of how things move forward. And it's good to see Florida Gulf Coast bringing their fans with them.
Indeed.
All the way from Fort Myers. That's a nice thing.
And there is Lipscomb.
Lipscomb waiting for the next match. And that will be an interesting one as well against the host Owls.
They had a very good match when they played earlier this year here. It should be a good home crowd.
You're right, absolutely. You would think so on a Thursday night and prime time.
Christine Pinder to serve. And she misses.
Not by much. I tell you, I thought that was going to drop in as well.
Good decision by Stetson.
And now you've got that big front line for Stetson. When you got Whaler back serving, you got a big blocking front line. And they're not a great blocking team, Neil, but this is about as good as it gets.
Caitlin Holm will try and beat the block. Masters with the dig, good save, free ball.
Nice up by Pender, keeping it alive.
And a good finish for that big front line for Stetson. We're tied again.
22 all, and boy, oh boy. And we might get to what I like to call free volleyball, Neil. Maybe free volleyball coming up. And you can explain that to our listeners.
Indeed. Erica White, by the way, with the finish. Here's Caitlin Holm again off the block.
And blocked again by Stetson. Nicely done.
Akins, the freshman, out of the back row, Pinder. Here comes Tiffany Kramer, the freshman. Bump set from
Another back
Gigi
row.
Meyer with the dig, a secondary setter. Home with the kill effort.
Great defensive work by both sides.
Another long rally and a miss by Stetson off the tip.
Close. You know, if Florida Gulf Coast wins some of those difficult rallies, even though it's not really their style, it's got to give Stetson cause for concern.
Again, you have to win by 2.
Ah, yes.
First team to win by 2 once you've gotten to 25.
Yeah. That's why we could be in for some free volleyball, I like to call it.
We are close to that at this point. Again, Olivia Messner serving. Nice deep serve. Kramer with a kill attempt. Marlena Moeller off the tip of a Stetson block.
Great set.
And a nice stuff block again.
And that puts point 24 on the board for Florida Gulf Coast. And a very well played first set from a defensive perspective. Neither team hitting very well at all. Both the hitting percentages, way down. But that's evidence of a defensive-minded first set.
First set point. Caitlin Holm, the senior, blocked nicely or dug out nicely. And now Mambuka. Can Pinder save it? Nope.
No, she cannot.
Set point staved off, so it's 24-23.
It's still set point for Florida Gulf Coast. This is the critical point right now as we get into overtime.
Tiffany Kramer, all freshman team member to serve. Her mom was her high school coach in Newman, Georgia.
That's going to make for some outstanding dynamics.
And a good serve.
Oh, great up by Pinder.
Whitney Masters able to keep it in play. Free ball.
Nice job.
And she gets to the tip. Home for the set.
No. Wow.
Another free ball. Backslide to Moeller.
Missed.
And we're tied. We will have free volleyball.
Well, it's been a very defensive-minded first set. Florida Gulf Coast hitting 0.48, Stetson 0.20, so obviously neither very good hitting percentages. That is evidence of tough defensive work. And that really plays into a Stetson kind of set.
And a communication error leads to a Stetson lead by 1 and a timeout for Florida Gulf Coast with the match now. Or the set point now for Stetson for the first time.
This is the kind of situation that drives coaches like Dave Nichols a little crazy because he's seen his team get to a set point and then all of a sudden, boom, we're all of a sudden back to where we're down a set point. So he calls that timeout because of course he had it and needed to stop the momentum. But it's very interesting to kind of see where we are right now. Because, again, you look at this and just look at the stat sheet and say, God, what a poorly played first set. But what it doesn't count for is the amazing defensive work on both sides, particularly, and this is a Stetson kind of set. It's not pretty. It's not pretty volleyball. But you know what? They don't keep track of pity in the record books. It's all about winning or losing.
Well, you take a look at the first match between these two teams earlier this year that Florida Gulf Coast won. Their top 2 hitters, Caitlin Holm, hit .609. Olivia Messner hit .450. Messner's hit .571, but Holm is a negative .071. She's had a very tough first set, and that's a big reason that this Florida Gulf Coast team is now trying to stay alive in the set. Tough serve again.
Tough serve.
Back row attack.
Wow.
And a miscommunication by Stetson now.
And that will drive Tim Lush a little crazy because there's miscommunication on his side of the net, and we're into more free volleyball.
25 apiece in the first set of the first match of the Atlantic Sun Tournament quarterfinals.
We might be here for a while.
Nice finish on the outside that time by Madison Akins. So another set point for Stetson.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, whatever it is Tim Lush has seen, he has got Kayla Wetter forcing that right side, and it's working on a pretty regular basis pretty well for the Hatters.
Short, low serve. Tipped by Moeller. Nice dig by Melville. And a miss by the setter.
Wow.
Trying to finish there in Kayla Weller, so we're knotted again.
And we're off to 28.
Again, you got to win by 2. Jessica Barnes in now. The Florida Gulf Coast is The rotation move pinned her out.
Right, and that immediately puts the onus on the defense of Stetson to try and block, because I've got a feeling the ball's going to go to Barnes and they got a chance at it.
Nice block that time by Mambuka, and it's a set point for Florida Gulf Coast.
Mambuka with with Barnes assisting, and boy, oh boy, that was a nice block. Well done.
They have blocked extremely well in this first set. Another block and a set toward the back corner. Nice tip and a nice finish. Erica White.
Well, it's not, again, you don't draw these up this way on any kind of a chalkboard. You just kind of, you have to fight your way through it to win it, and I tell you, that's what Stetson's really good at.
Here's the freshman Madison Akins.
Just missed.
And now Florida Gulf Coast off the service error has an opportunity to win the first set. 28-27 Florida Gulf Coast. Again, this is the first in the first quarterfinal. Whitney Masters, the libero, serving. Nice kill and finish by Kaylee Melville, the senior. We're tied again. And she'll serve.
It gives you an idea of when you got two teams that are evenly matched like this, how difficult it is to actually get to that point. In this case, 30 was going to be 25, then 26, and
missed by Jessica Barnes.
And again, you made the comment earlier, Neil, it's not been a hitting exhibition by either team. Particularly, you're a little surprised that Florida Gulf Coast is not able to get their offense really on track at all.
Masters with a real nice dig.
Not well passed.
And it's right into the antenna, and Stetson has survived to win the first set of this match.
Well, that's about, again, for the Hatters, that's Hatter volleyball right there. That's what they expect to have happen, and, it's very interesting stuff, but it could lead to a very long match.
Stetson beat Florida Gulf Coast 3-1 in their last regular season match. They take the first set of the Atlantic Sun quarterfinals. We're back with more in a moment on ESPN3.
After the Kia Optima was ranked most appealing midsize car by J.D. Power and Associates, there was only one thing to do: make it even more appealing. So we added 18-inch chrome wheels, an electronic parking brake, and premium Napa leather trim seats. Introducing the new Optima Limited. It's everything that made the Optima great, and then some.
Shopping for a diamond? Most jewelers buy their diamonds from middlemen who've already marked up the prices, and the jeweler passes those markups on to you. Fortunately, there's a jeweler who cuts out the middlemen and their markups, and buys their diamonds directly from the diamond cutters. So, instead of passing markups on to you, they pass savings on to you. For a diamond that sparkles beautifully at a price that will amaze you, come to Shane Company. We're a cut above.
Imagine working without any financial worries, or owning your favorite place to eat. Imagine starting life debt-free, surprising someone with a brand new home. For 20 years, the Georgia Lottery has been making lives better. Celebrate with us and play the anniversary edition of Jumbo Bucks with new top prizes up to $1.5 million. Just another way to say thanks for an amazing 20 years.
Welcome back to Kennesaw State University. We're at the Convocation Center in Kennesaw, Georgia. Neil Solondz, Phil Bush. One set of the first match of the Atlantic Sun quarterfinals is complete, and Florida Gulf Coast fell to Stetson 30-28, and a big reason was a freshman for Stetson.
Yeah, and it's really interesting when you got a situation where it's not pretty offensively. You have a player who steps up with 6 kills, that well in Madison Akins, and that typically can really spark a team. And I think we both thought that both sides had a chance, multiple chances to win that, but eventually it's, like I said, I'm not saying I know this for a fact, but I would say that would be how Stetson would draw it up, would be this kind of situation where that would be ugly volleyball, and there we go.
Florida Gulf Coast had 8 blocks in that first set, and that's really the reason they hung around as long as they did, because their hitting percentage was .022.
Yeah, and neither side hit very well. Lots of hitting errors, but again, I really believe that's what you're going to draw up. You're going to say that's how we want to play the game if you're Florida Gulf Coast. Everything was very even except for that block number, as you just mentioned. That block number certainly clearly favored Florida Gulf Coast, and you would expect that to have led to a Eagle victory.
In fact, usually when Gulf Coast, we talked to their head coach, Dave Nichols, he said before the match, when we're blocking, we're playing well.
Yes, well, they blocked well, but honestly, I think he would say we didn't do much else very well in that first set. So that's going to be the interesting thing, and I'll be interested to see, will Florida Gulf Coast just take this as a challenge, or will they just not be able to handle playing that very difficult style of volleyball?
Karina Mambuka with a nice finish after a real good dig by the libero Whitney Masters.
Yeah, and that's a tough ball to pass too. And immediately, as soon as Barnes comes into the match for Florida Gulf Coast, their offensive firepower goes up by a notch.
Not a real good job digging that serve out. Led to a tough ball for Weller. And now off the block, Marlena Moeller converting the kill. So it's 2-0 Gulf Coast. Nice answer to start this second set.
Yep, very much. And again, I'll be interested to kind of see where this really goes, and can Florida Gulf Coast regain the momentum, because they really had the momentum early in that first set, and they just kind of gave it away. And I shouldn't say that. Stetson is just kind of forced them into it.
That's already the 5th serve error on Florida Gulf Coast, and not a team that serves that aggressively either.
No, they don't typically. You're right.
So that's a very high number for them. Short serve by Madison Akins. The tip by Mambuka is a good one, and a nice job to dig it. Off the backslide, Moeller. And it's out of bounds over the antenna. The point to Florida Gulf Coast. That was a terrific effort by Kayla Weller.
Weller made a great try at getting that ball up, but it just wasn't past where she could actually touch it. You're right.
So Florida Gulf Coast now with a 2-point lead once again in set number 2, down 1 set. And a nice block, but this time it's out of bounds off Mambuka. So Stetson the point, and it's now a 1-point game again.
Off the block and out of bounds. That's nicely done. And again, I'll be interested to see from a serving perspective as well. Will either side really start to really try and turn it up a notch?
Olivia Messner with a very nice job to hit the right sideline.
Yeah, and depending on what offensive system you use, you call that either a 31 or just a quick slide attack, but it's a nicely struck ball by Florida Gulf Coast. And again, speed is the thing. Speed is the key.
Tremendous power by Messner. It's going to be a free ball opportunity.
Not passed, though, very well.
Here's Barnes, though, off a good feed from Myers, and she'll get the kill.
And boy, oh boy, does Barnes elevate. When she goes up the swing, boy, she just brings the whole floor with her, and she goes up.
She's the only dual athlete at Florida Gulf Coast University, a center fielder for the softball team.
My guess is that she plays mostly hitter. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean, if you're that good, you play hitter.
Masters with the save. Free ball for Stetson.
Another save by Weller. Oh,
and
wow.
Messner with a miss. Boy, that was an easy opportunity. That's a bad unforced error.
It really is, because all she had to do is, she had the right idea to go right side there, to go to the open spot on the floor, but just tried to do too much. And Florida Gulf Coast has tried to do a little too much, too many times.
Jessica Barnes, real good swing.
Very good swing. Dug up, though.
Tiffany Kramer misses. Florida Gulf Coast back up by 3.
Well, speaking of trying to do too much, that was a set that really, this needed to go in if you're Stetson.
So Florida Gulf Coast, which has led the entire second set after dropping the first, now looking to add to a 3-point edge. And Weller misses on the effort to go to her middle.
Yeah, that's just basically a timing thing between the middle and the setter, and that's going to happen sometimes in these situations. But again, this is very reminiscent of that first set where after the 4-point lead goes Florida Gulf Coast.
Nice dig by Pinder. Holm, who had a tough first set, does not finish. Good dig. Free ball. Meyer backslide. Nice job by Messner.
That's going to be a net violation on Stetson. So back to Florida Gulf Coast. Now a 5-point lead, and there's a quick timeout by Tim Lesh, and he had to call that.
Largest lead of either set to this point.
Yeah. Smart move by Tim Lesh.
Indeed. Florida Gulf Coast lost set number 1 by a couple as we played extra volleyball. They're in control in set 2 early. Florida Gulf Coast 8, Stetson 3. This is the quarterfinals of the Atlantic Sun Tournament on ESPN 3. Dave Nichols, Florida Gulf Coast head coach, has to be happy with what he sees in the second set. Florida Gulf Coast, after losing set 1, now up 8-3 in the second. Nice dig by Mambuka.
Back row attack.
Pinder. And the miss by Stetson, and Florida Gulf Coast up by a half dozen.
Yeah, that's a big lead in this kind of a situation. Now, expect Stetson is to chip away at it over the course of the next, multiple rallies if they can.
Kramer off the block. Wide to Holm. Nice tip.
That's pretty. That's basically great court vision that time by Holm. All she had to do that time was look through the net, see the defense back deep. They respected her power, and she just basically said, I'll go over the top of the block, and there'll be nobody there. And you know what? She was right.
Third kill of the match. Excellent read, as mentioned, Phil. And now it's 10-3 Florida Gulf Coast.
That's a big lead.
Nice finish.
It's a good streak, though, by Florida Gulf Coast to give them pretty much, I won't say a commanding lead, but a significant lead. And now with Weller going back, that's always a key is the big front blocking line for the Hatters comes in.
Chance to come back. Mambuka off of her. Good serve.
Very different. That serve really eats you up. That one had a rise on it. Weller served that, and it kind of rose at the hitter, the passer.
34 aces in the regular season. Led her team. Not surprising when you see that serve.
Another tough one.
It'll be a free ball. Off Masters.
Back to the right side.
And a miss. It's a break for Florida Gulf Coast.
Yeah, it really is. And again, trying to do a bit too much with a set that may not be perfect, but your hitters have got to remember, keep it in play. Let's let our defense take over.
So won them set number 1. Nice set by Weller. Back row attack. Meyer the setter. Off the second hit, Holm off the block.
That was a nice bump set, too, by Meyer, because that ball was not passed where she could easily get to it. She did a really good job of adapting to that pass and putting it where her hitter could make something out of it.
Weller tight to the net with a pretty good set. Good effort by Messner, point for Stetson.
Well, it's not out of touch yet for Stetson, but it's getting pretty close. You're down 6 at this point. You've really got to make some ground up pretty quickly because the game becomes a matter of just side out, side out, side out at that point in time. And Florida Gulf Coast has to feel good about where they are in this second set.
Tiffany Kramer with an excellent serve. Terrific dig by Masters. The tip from Moeller. And the finish.
Well, Moeller had what I call that time, what I call the big eye swing. basically the ball's coming over and the hitters get big eyes and go, wow, what can I do with this? And you hit it straight down. Smartly done. Didn't try and do too much with it.
Very nice finish by Kaylee Melville. Melville's been doing more digging than she has hitting, but that's her 5th kill. She already has 10 digs.
Yeah, she's done a lot on the back line. You're right. And frankly, Stetson's needed every one of those digs.
Second on the team in digs in the regular season, leading them in kills. Caitlin Holmes starting to heat up. It's the 3rd straight time she's converted.
Well, you figured that a hitter as good as Holmes isn't going to have 2 bad sets in a row. She's going to pick up her pace, and I think the whole team was told by the coach, guys, this is basically one and done. We're out if we lose, so we don't want to lose.
Now serving with a 7-point lead is Holm. Akins off the block. That was a net violation by Florida Gulf Coast.
Yep, sure was. And Doug Darling, our second official, always has the lead call in those situations, doing a nice job. But Stetson has to really start putting sets of points together now to get back in this second set.
Madison Akins with a tight serve, but it was not handled effectively by Stetson. Now a chance for Barnes. Kramer able to save it. Secondary set from Masters. Nice job by Moeller. And a very nice hit in the middle for the finish.
Nice timing that time between Weller and Melville that time. Nicely done, because that ball could have been set just about any place, and the hitter came to the setter, saw the setter was calling, and came and made the quick attack.
Hawks with her 4th kill of the match. Moeller on the backslide.
Just wide on the block. Good block by Stetson, but just wide.
They run that backslide to Moeller awful frequently.
Yeah.
With effectiveness.
Yes, absolutely.
So leading by as much as 7. Florida Gulf Coast up 6. Trost to libero with the dig. Melville.
Nice.
Free
nice
ball.
Save.
Backslide from Stetson. Wide to Barnes. Oh, good use of the block.
Oh, boy. Well, when you're that, you can get in the air that well, and you've got great vision like Barnes clearly does. She goes off the outside blocker's hand and makes it a very difficult ball to control.
As a center fielder, you think she saved a couple of home runs?
I think so.
Good communication. Free ball. Nice.
Oh, that's a
decision.
Smart play. That's just a smart play by Gigi Meyer. You sometimes know where there's open spots on the floor, and Meyer just said, if I put it over, it may not go down, but it's going to make it very difficult for Stetson to control. Well done.
Gigi Meyer from an athletic family.
You could say that.
As Stetson able to answer. Gigi Meyer is the daughter of Urban Meyer, the head coach now of Ohio State, and Gigi's got a sister who is the libero, Nicole, at Georgia Tech.
Yeah, very big, and Gainesville as a area is a big volleyball area, thanks in large part to the job that the University of Florida has done building junior programs around that area. So both the Meyer young ladies came into that system.
Good tip by Mambuka.
And right now that we've reached the point of the set, Neil will like to say it's basically what I call the zone. Right now, Florida Gulf Coast is up with 8 points with 7 to play, which means it doesn't mean that the set's over, but it means it's really hard for Stetson to come back.
Here's Barnes again, and that was a wild miss.
Just tried to do too much with it.
So it's now an 18-11 game, Florida Gulf Coast in front. Kind of an unforced error.
Yeah, it was. Because she had a solo blocker up, and she just needed to put the ball in play. Tried to do too much.
It's head coach Tim Lesh for Stetson. But a service error by Stetson. And there are times to be aggressive. That was probably not one of those times.
Not one of them. Not when you're down by 8, or here say 7, now 8, with only 6 to go. And so now this becomes a numbers game. And the numbers do not favor Stetson to making a comeback.
Nice backslide to Mester. Terrific block by Stetson. Here's Caitlin Holm.
Good defensive work by the Hatters.
Making it a long rally.
That's the kind of rally they like. But
that was Messner missing, or did that go off Stetson?
It went off Stetson.
So it is going to be a Florida Gulf Coast point. They're now at 20.
Yeah, up by 9 with 5 to go. Again, it becomes a numbers game.
Messner now with 8 kills, leading both teams. Very good finish from Tiffany Kramer.
Now, long way to come back. Now, what you got to do now is you got to do a combination of intelligent setting, and you got Weller, who maybe is your best server, back there doing it, and a big front line. But Florida Gulf Coast looks very, very hard to stop right now.
Nice decision by Meyer on a pass that was too close to the net. Messner off the backslide. Good finish by Madison Akins.
Well struck ball. So again, those long rallies, if for whatever reason, if we were watching just on the number of times back and forth across the net, I believe that's probably about 90% Stetson volleyball.
Florida Gulf Coast more a power team. Kramer uses the block to score.
The blocking down.
Well, they're using that front line to get some points now.
Yeah, and they're getting back. That big front line for Stetson does the job. And like I said, when Weller's in the back row like that, serving, they have their best front line and from a block perspective.
Good serve.
Yes.
And a lift. So that's 3 straight points for Stetson, and Florida Gulf Coast is going to use a timeout. Probably a good time to do it.
Oh, it's getting a little too close, and I think Dave Nichols knows how this script ends, and he doesn't like how the first one ended. He wants the second one to end a little differently. So no, a good timeout by Coach Nichols saying, stop. Let's slow down here.
In chatting with him yesterday about his team, he said you're going to see a bit of everything. He said, we're going to be really, really good hitting the ball at times. We're going to be really, really bad, and sometimes in between. We've kind of seen that in the first 2 sets.
We really have.
The year's gone.
No, you're right, and they're a very interesting team in that this set. So they had 8 blocks in set number 1. They've had 0 blocks in set number 2. Yet they're up significantly here. So he's right, and again, it's the nature of a team that's kind of gone through a lot of transitions over the course of this year too.
They have a veteran group on paper, but they lost Jill Hopper, who was a all-conference performer last year, second-team all-conference in the 2011 Freshman of the Year to injury.
Yeah.
They had 2 junior college players. They had to redshirt 2, one because of eligibility, one due to injury. Those are 3 players who probably would have been in their rotation, making them that much deeper and stronger.
Yeah, I agree. And again, the thing about Florida Gulf Coast, I know people might laugh when I say this. It's a volleyball school. There's a lot of volleyball played at that school, and volleyball's a big deal if you're a Florida Gulf Coast player.
Home going for the quick finish. Nice dig by Stetson. Messner, a good tip.
Smartly done. Messner, this again, same thing we've seen before, going over the top of the block. We just call that court vision. You're basically playing through the net, looking and saying, where do I have an open spot on the floor? Nicely done.
She's hitting better than 500 in the match now, and an ace.
Ace to add to that. That's pretty impressive. And there's a timeout quickly taken by Stetson because they see how this is ending.
Just the 3rd service ace of the year for Olivia Messner. Boy, what a time to get it.
Great time to get it. Again, it certainly is not, the set may not be over, but it's pretty close to over right now. It really is.
Take a look at some of the key numbers. After that first set, Florida Gulf Coast was hitting 035. Mm-hmm. They're now hitting 177. So, clear contrast.
Oh, yeah.
Which means, okay, they're not hitting 500 in the second set, but they're hitting in a more reasonable area that you would expect from them.
Absolutely. That's very well said. And I think the thing about it is hey, we got to get back to doing what we do well, and that Florida Gulf Coast is basically quick attacks, fast offense.
Again, this is the first of our 2 quarterfinals in the Atlantic Sun Volleyball Tournament. Last year, it was East Tennessee State that won the automatic bid to the NCAAs. The winner of this gets the top seed.
And that's East Tennessee.
Lipscomb will take on the host school, Kennesaw State, in her second matchup.
And that could be a very entertaining match as well based on past experience.
Kramer off the block. Free ball. Very nice kill effort and a save. It'll lead to another free ball. Long rally. And a good save by Pinder. Home off the block. Good job and a good decision.
That is smart. Very nicely done by Weller. Doing a good job that time. Again, as setters are told by their bench in certain rallies, you have dumps in transition. And that was a great example of where Weller knew she had it.
Good jump serve by Kramer. Home. Drost with her 12th dig of the match.
Back row, but dug up by Florida Gulf Coast.
Home with a wild miss. She's had a tough match, and it's now a 5-point match again.
I'm telling you, this is a nightmare scenario for Dave Nichols because he, like I said, he knows how this script ends, and he didn't like the way the first one ended.
Good bump set. Home didn't try and do too much there, and a good block.
Free ball. But tug up again
by Melville. But a miss.
And that really, Caitlin Holm caused that time by being in the perfect spot to block that ball. So nicely done by number 2 for Florida Gulf Coast, Holm on the block.
So now Gigi Meyer. Nice job by Mambuka to block. Back row attack misses. And it's a set point for Florida Gulf Coast to even this match at 1 apiece.
Yeah, and again, much better volleyball in set number 2 statistically for Florida Gulf Coast, and I would say much more Florida Gulf Coast-like, shall we say.
Holm not able to finish. Stetson still alive.
Still barely alive, but yeah. But if you trying to get back that many set points on a team is awfully difficult.
Morgan Pouch, a sophomore serving. Good middle hit, and we're even at 1 set apiece.
Nicely done by Moeller. Quick attack, and that's what this Florida Gulf Coast team does so well.
We're going to hear momentarily from Dave Nichols, the head coach of Florida Gulf Coast, but your thoughts on the first 2 sets?
Well, it's not that surprising what we've seen here. We've seen a Florida Gulf Coast team that has got a lot of power and not be able to use it, got a little frustrated in set number 1. And we saw a Stetson team that prides itself on bringing the ball up, doing it in set number 1, and then in set number 2, it's more like what you're expecting.
As we take a look at the leaders in that first set, Olivia Messner with 9 kills to lead all sides as Dave Nichols works his way over. Gigi Meyer with 20 assists and 13 digs by Whitney Masters for Florida Gulf Coast, the leaders on their side. On the Stetson side of things, very good effort by Kaylee Melville as she had 6 kills and 13 digs to this point in time. We are now joined by the head coach of Florida Gulf Coast, Dave Nichols. And Dave, this was really a tale of 2 different sets. You guys blocked extremely well in the first set. You were able to finish in the second.
Yeah, we had a lot of unforced errors in the first set. If you look, we had 8 unforced hitting errors, and we had 4 service errors. And I don't mind a couple of those errors, but giving away 12 was too much. We played fairly well other than for the unforced errors. And in game 2, we cut back on those, and we finished a little bit better. We found the court a little bit more. As
you talk to your troops, what adjustments do you make as you get set for set 3 of what's been a pretty even match?
Yeah, I think we need to get our middle more involved in transition. I don't think we're distributing it enough to them, and they're starting to load up on our outsides a little bit. So I really want to make sure that our transition gets more middle and more middle directly in front to hold their middles a little bit. They're starting to cheat over to our left side. So we want to make that adjustment and continue to play aggressive.
Dave Nichols, thanks for joining us.
Sure, you're welcome.
That's the head coach of Florida Gulf Coast, Dave Nichols. Again, we are at intermission, one set apiece in this first quarterfinal of the Atlantic Sun Volleyball Championship. Again, this is the first quarterfinal matchup of the day. We continue in a moment on ESPN3.
I know it's only $15 million.
The jackpot wasn't even in the triple digits?
I was feeling lucky.
You feel lucky now? Because we need a new dishwasher. I haven't had a mani-pedi in several weeks. How are we going to do that on $15 million?
Make it work.
We'll have to cancel the cable.
I'm so sorry.
Play the new Mega Millions with jackpots now starting at $15 million and Powerball starting at $40 million.
After the Kia Optima was ranked most appealing midsize car by J.D. Power and Associates, there was only one thing to do: make it even more appealing. So we added 18-inch chrome wheels, an electronic parking brake, and premium Napa leather trim seats. Introducing the new Optima Limited. It's everything that made the Optima great, and then some.
Shopping for an engagement ring? At most jewelers, the salespeople are paid on commission, so they pressure you to buy and to spend more than you want to until you crack. Fortunately, there's a jeweler where the salespeople aren't paid on commission, so you can relax and look at as many diamonds and engagement rings as you want, within your budget and with no pressure to buy. Come see why more people are nuts about Shane Company than any other jeweler.
Welcome back to Kennesaw State University in Kennesaw, Georgia. First quarterfinal of the Atlantic Sun Volleyball Championship. You can see the two teams, the 4-seed Florida Gulf Coast, the 5-seed Stetson, even in one. Let's take a look at what happened in the men's soccer championship in the Atlantic Sun. Cinderella, North Florida, opposite East Tennessee State in the men's soccer championship, and as expected, this was a physical battle early.
It really was. A lot of confrontation, single combat. Neither team getting many good chances inside the attacking third. So Captain Nate Hodges of East Tennessee takes matters in his own hands, hitting this 30-yard rocket past Brad Sinkovich to put East Tennessee on top 1-0. That's the way it ended at the first half. Early in the second half, costly giveaway by North Florida's defense. Emmanuel Wilson taking it down, draws some defenders, laid it back for Dante Brangman, who finishes to put his team up 2-0. Looks fairly comfortable now, but North Florida, Derek Marinato's team, they don't have any quit in them. They get a restart, and this brilliant strike by Simon Solstad makes it 2-1 with about 8 minutes to go. And they are indeed fired up, but Emmanuel Wilson once again on the counterattack. This time, instead of passing, he drills the ball in for a sharp angle, putting East Tennessee on top 3-1. That's the way it ended, and East Tennessee are the Atlantic Sun champions.
So they're headed to the NCAA tournament for the first time since 2010. A senior-laden group. Congratulations to East Tennessee State.
For 35 years, the Atlantic Sun Conference has supported its member institutions in their commitment to the hard work, dedication, and determination of building winners for life. As the ASUN aggressively seeks to expand opportunities, its student athletes and the institutions they represent stand among the nation's best in academics, athletics, and service to their communities. At the ASUN, the aim is the successful balance of student and athlete. The Atlantic Sun Conference, at its best, building winners for life.
There's so many things that I'm proud about Florida Gulf Coast University. There's our rapid rise to Division I athletics.
You look at the soccer teams, they both went to the NCAA tournament. Our softball team beat Florida in the first round of the NCAA tournament. Women's basketball program went 29-3, and they went to the NCAA tournament. And our swimming team put 2 swimmers in the Olympics this year.
It seems like every year we're accomplishing more and more amazing things.
Gear is an essential component for any sports fan. Whether you're looking for team-branded apparel for adults or children, tailgate necessities, or gifts for family or friends, asunstore.com has something to help everyone support their favorite ASUN team. Take a few minutes to browse the selection, then outfit yourself and your family today, and get ready for the next big season with one simple visit to asunstore.com.
Back in Georgia for the Atlantic Sun Volleyball quarterfinals. At intermission, Florida Gulf Coast is even at one set apiece. Let's take a look at what you thought of their first couple sets and some key numbers from that.
Well, what I think is it kind of played out the way you'd expect a match between these two schools. You had a lot of defense from the Stetson side and a lot of offense from the Florida Gulf Coast side, and there's a good example there. They find a way to put the ball down, but Stetson just keeps on bringing it, and they like the long rallies, and they'll win them. They'll just find a way to win a rally.
Take a look at the numbers. Florida Gulf Coast hit much better in the second set.
Well, the first set, I'm sure, Coach Nichols couldn't have been very thrilled with the way his team came out, but Bentley did a nice job, and you see they've still gotten lead in most every significant category, including blocks.
And all of those came in set number 1. We'll come back with set number 3 and see who takes control of this match right after this on ESPN 3. Neil Solons along with Phil Bush for the third set of our first quarterfinal match of the day in the Atlantic Sun Volleyball Tournament. Florida Gulf Coast, they were 13-18 in the regular season. They're the 4 seed. They won the second set rather convincingly after a back-and-forth battle in set number 1 with a Stetson team that is in the postseason for the first time since 1995. When most of the freshmen and sophomores on the Stetson team were in diapers.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's been a long time.
Gigi Meyer, the setter, serves to start set number 3. And a miss by by Stetson, by Erica White. And Florida Gulf Coast the lead early. So Gigi Meyer continues serving. Short serve to White. Nice tip by Kramer.
Tip right to the block, right to the defender. So.
And a miss, though, by Florida Gulf Coast. We're knotted up. That was pretty close.
Yeah, it was, but lines people right on top of it. Reaffirmed by up referee Michelle Prater, so no big shock there.
Caitlin Holm, her 5th error of the match. Second team all-conference player. Polar in the middle tried the quick hit. Rambuca over the block. Long rally.
Stetson's going to have to go someplace besides right side because Florida Gulf Coast is camped out waiting for him there.
And well blocked by Moeller.
Yeah. So they did try to go someplace else, but they probably going to need to use middle some here. They really haven't done much with the middle attack, has Stetson. And Florida Gulf Coast looks very confident coming out of that break.
9 blocks now for Florida Gulf Coast.
Never mind the walls. They may not have blocked, but they've at least tipped or touched on the way as a bunch.
Good finish on the backslide by Ellen Hawks, and we're knotted at 2.
Right back to the right side, so what do I know?
Here's Michelle Kastner in the game. Tops on her team in digs, 9th in the Atlantic Sun. But misses on the serve.
Yeah. Coming out tied 1-1, I mean, it's one of those things. Now we've got basically a match to, basically a 3-set match. Typically the one who wins this second one is typically really, really in control.
Melville, after a good dig by Holm to keep it alive. Again, a good dig, this time by Masters. Barnes off the block with the finish.
Well, I think Florida Gulf Coast has kind of just committed themselves to playing, dare I say, Stetson-style defense here in this match because they know that's what it's going to take to win this match.
Short serve by Masters. Backslide to Hawks. Nice dig by Masters. Free ball. Very composed by Meyer. Back row attack by Holm. Now Melville off the block. Oh, great save by Holm. And a miss.
Just wide, or just long, I should say, but a well-played rally on both sides. Good defensive work on both sides, but again, now this is reminiscent now of set number 2 in terms of the start that Florida Gulf Coast has had.
Back row attack. Nice pancake block. Backslide by Hawks. Good dig by Holm. She's had a real good start on the floor to start this set.
Yeah.
But the miss by Gulf Coast gives Stetson the point.
Well, when you're at 1-1, teams start to think a little bit more about each of the plays that they are making.
Caitlin Holm now with 6 digs in the match. She has just 5 kills. Good short serve.
That's smart.
Nice finish off the block.
Good job by Mesner that time. Just knocked the ball down where they aren't. Just basically had a big wide open spot and just knocked it down. Wasn't that hard, but you know what? Goes down as a kill no matter what.
Very good serve. Karina Mambuka with the serve. By the way, Mesner now the first player with double-digit kills in the match with 10.
Yep.
Excellent block by Mesner, too.
Yeah, this is starting out, like I said, now it's beginning to really start out heavily like a Florida Gulf Coast kind of set. Wouldn't be surprised to see Tim Lesh call a timeout if this goes on a couple more points, or maybe only one.
Largest lead of the set for Gulf Coast. Masters with yet another dig and a good stuff block by Hawks.
And who needs a timeout when you get a big block and you move on? Nicely done. Now they've got to try and follow it up with some points on the Stetson side.
Need to limit the service errors.
Yes.
Good serve. Masters the libero with the dig. Back row attack from Holm. Good tip.
Florida Gulf Coast has done a very good job taking advantage of big open spaces.
Have you seen them adjust to what Dave Nichols talked about at intermission?
Not yet.
Of things?
I have not yet, no.
Curious to see how that bears as the match plays. Good dig by Pinder. Caitlin Holm with a nice roll shot.
And right now, and that's what I thought was coming. Tim Lesh said this is not going the way I want it to, and he is probably particularly disturbed about defense right now, or lack thereof.
So Florida Gulf Coast in control, trying to go up 2-1. We'll continue with the quarterfinals of the Atlantic Sun Volleyball Championship right after this on ESPN3.
Jewelers buy their diamonds from middlemen who've already marked up the prices, and the jeweler passes those markups on to you. Fortunately, there's a jeweler who cuts out the middlemen and their markups and buys their diamonds directly from the diamond cutters. So, instead of passing markups on to you, they pass savings on to you. For a diamond that sparkles beautifully at a price that will amaze you, come to Shane Company. We're a cut above.
We did it, the Big Falcon's Nest. I knew the tickets would be here.
Whoa, Mama Bird. That's some sweet cash.
We supposed to eat that?
Don't blow our cover, dude. Oh, it's the dad. Eat.
Do what it takes to win up to $350 grand. Play the Atlanta Falcons Big Win Scratcher, new from the Georgia Lottery.
Florida Gulf Coast took set number 2 in this first quarterfinal. To even the match at 1, they're in control in set number 3. Good block again by Olivia Messner for the point.
Well, Messner has really, she was already playing extremely good, as you pointed out earlier, but now she is not only on the offensive side with hitting, now with blocking, really stepping it up. Free ball.
Nice backslide, and Messner saved by Stetson. Tiffany Kramer with a roll shot. Good dig by Masters. Another long rally. Back row attack missed.
Yep. And the wheels are pretty much off the wagon right now for Stetson. I mean, they've got real problems. Down 8. I know that didn't sound like much when you're playing 25, but the way things are going right now, they're really in trouble.
Good short serve. Barely cleared the net. Nova with the back row swing. Good finish by Caitlin Holm.
Yeah, and now down 9. You know, the news is not getting any better, and some substitutions coming in for Stetson, it looks like.
We're going to see a change at setter.
Yeah, that's unusual. That does not happen very often, but clearly Tim Lesh wants to try some different things right now.
Well, the new setter is Danica Yoder, a freshman from Venice, Florida. She's number 9. And again, Gulf Coast finishes, and their roll continues. 14-4, they lead it.
Yeah, up by 10 with only 11 to go. As the saying goes, it becomes a question of math. Not well passed, and nor well decided is by Stetson what they're going to do offensively.
And then the setter, the new setter, Yoder, unable to dig, and it's 15-4.
Now officially in what I call the zone is Florida Gulf Coast. They're up by 11 with only, my 10 with 10 to go. Check that, 11 with 10 to go.
Again, these teams split the regular season matches between them. Stetson winning the most recent in Fort Myers.
And the passing is really broken down for Stetson, and that's usually a sign of bad things happening.
And Messner through the block. Her 11th kill of the match. And another timeout for Stetson.
Yeah, and again, Tim Lesh just looking for answers right now because things really have, coming out of the locker room, you typically want to see teams come out with some things, but really didn't do a good job there.
Obviously, in the Atlantic Sun, building winners for life, there are some outstanding scholar athletes. We're going to see one of them in the second match.
Yes, we are.
Caitlin Dotson, who leads not only the league, but the nation in assists. And she was a co-scholar athlete of the year with East Tennessee State's Meredith Hardy. They were the co-champions in the league. And Hardy, you can see, has been well recognized for her play on the court and in the classroom.
Well, what people often don't realize about players of any sport, but, obviously we're talking volleyball here, so we'll stay talking about it. is players have got a full-time job playing their sport and a full-time job being students, and it's not easy. So I give great congratulations to those young ladies for doing a great job in the classroom as well as being good athletes.
Florida Gulf Coast brought up a pretty good contingent.
I'll say.
It's not a short trip. It's about, 9-10 hours?
It's a good hike, and then we've also got some fans of the local players, too, that are here. There's several of the local players that are here, and they brought some fans from their high schools and things like that, which is nice.
Couple of freshmen combining, Yoder to Kramer. Stetson out of the timeout, gets one back, and at least they had a moment to get Kayla Weller some time to maybe recover, talk some strategy.
Yeah, just rest a little bit. Now they put her back in at the back row. Wouldn't be surprised to see them make that substitution set again where they bring her in when Weller's in the back row, being the setter.
Nice tip by Holm. Good job to recover, at least keep it alive. And an excellent block, and Stetson has scored a couple.
Well, I got to give the Stetson team a lot of credit for just keep fighting. You know, when things aren't going well, they keep fighting. And that's hard to do when you've had such a difficult start to this set, because Florida Gulf Coast came out really, really strong in this third set.
Service error, number 6 for Stetson. So Florida Gulf Coast in command.
Free ball.
And a point. Oh.
I'll be darned.
Unless you can play soccer well.
Wow. I think what the captain for Florida Gulf Coast is going to ask about, wasn't that ball lifted or carried? And
I thought it was a double hit.
I thought it was either a double hit or a lift, and Michelle Prater explaining, no, it wasn't. It was a single contact and pulled over the net, but you don't see that happen but about once a year.
It happens more on the beach than it does on
it does.
the hardwood.
This is true.
Ronaldo would have been happy.
Very much so. Nice job by Gigi Meyer keeping that one alive. Oh, what a shot.
Florida Gulf Coast adds to its very commanding lead in set number 3.
And Caitlin Holm found a way to put that one down into the deep corner. It was just a nice shot.
She was off to a slow start. She now has 9 kills.
And again, the defensive woes, passing woes for Stetson really continue.
Yeah, they passed much better in the first set, and it's kind of gone.
It's gone downhill, but especially here in set number 3, they really are struggling with ball control. And any coach would tell you, if you can't pass the ball, everything else is academic.
And again, that was another tough pass for Weller, but a nice finish by the senior Melville.
Nicely done. So again, this is there's no quit in a team like Stetson because they're used to winning ugly, and they may not say, well, this isn't pretty, but they still get the win. But this time around, Florida Gulf Coast has dug a deep, deep hole for them.
Good save by Melville. Kramer from the back row. Masters digs the libero. And the finish for Caitlin Holm.
Yeah. The power speed offense of Florida Gulf Coast, when it's going good, it is awfully tough to stop.
So the top 2 hitters in the match on the Gulf Coast side. Messner with 11 kills, and now Holm with 11. Hawks with the effort.
Nice idea by Stetson, but better defense by Florida Gulf Coast.
And from behind the 10-foot line, good play by Caitlin Holm.
Very much so. Nicely struck. So this third set is over. Right now, if you're Stetson, what you want to do is regroup and try and make this third set go a little longer and try to get back on track for set number 4. But
good short serve, not a good pass, and Barnes the finish.
But this has been as much an ideal set for Florida Gulf Coast as you can draw up on the board.
And another finish right near the 10-foot line by Caitlin Holm. Boy, she has had some third set.
I'll say. And like I say, you don't see many 23-8 scores at this level of volleyball Neil, and this has been a truly one-sided third set.
She has 8 kills in this set alone.
Wow.
But that one will go Stetson's way. You can't win them all.
Can't win them all. No, that's true.
2 Florida schools that are strong rivals, even though Stetson is again in the postseason for the first time since 1995 under their third-year head coach. Good job to keep it alive.
Wow.
Effort there for Stetson.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good swing by Barnes. Another dig. And a miss by the freshman Kramer. Set point.
Tried to do too much, and here we are, 24-9.
Whitney Masters serving for set 3.
Great
Good short
serve. Oh, boy. And miscommunication on the offensive side for Stetson.
Back row attack. And it's a miss by Hall. A rare one.
Yeah, she hasn't missed much.
Again, another set point. One of many for Gulf Coast. Good short serve. Good finish by Kramer.
Well done by Kramer as the homestanding freshman from about 20 miles away in Noonan does a nice job there. And she's had a pretty good match overall, especially for a freshman. She's doing some very nice things out there.
6th kill of the match. Balanced attack for Stetson among 4 players with 5 kills or more. Wet spot on the floor. Dave Nichols has to like the play of his team in set 3.
Now, they came out of the locker room, and you could tell he had them on a mission, and they really executed very, very well here in this set.
Good save. Back row hit. Meyer. Messner blocked. Good double block by Hawkston Kramer.
Well, Kramer has been a blocking force here towards the end of this set, and I think if you're Tim Lesh, the coach of Stetson, you like this finish because you get to kind of remind your players, hey, forget about most of that set. Focus on the last 5 points where we really did some nice things. I know that sounds kind of silly, but, you know, volleyball is a game where having a short memory is actually a very good thing.
3rd block of the match for Kramer. And that'll do it for set number 3. So they switch ends. It's now Florida Gulf Coast, which lost the first set, now 1 set away from winning the quarterfinal match. We'll come back with set number 4 at Kennesaw State University. Again, you're watching the Atlantic Sun Tournament quarterfinals in women's volleyball on ESPN3. What a third set of the opening quarterfinal match of the Atlantic Sun Women's Volleyball Tournament for second-team all-conference player, Caitlin Holmes. She had 8 kills in that third set and now has a double-double for the match.
Yeah. Very well played, and she really, like I said, the whole Florida Gulf Coast team, Neil, seemed to come out with a renewed attention in that third set. And Caitlin Holmes really exemplifies that. Senior, playing in her last several matches and going to school in the hometown school. This is good times for her if they can go ahead and finish this up and keep advancing in this tournament.
13 kills, 11 digs, 4 blocks for Holm. And Florida Gulf Coast, they can sense it. They are 1 set away from the match. Of course, if we do play a 5th and deciding set, it is, instead of 1st to 25, it is 1st to 15. So
yeah,
the pressure's on to win. If you feel like you're the better team and Florida Gulf Coast has controlled play the last 2 sets, you don't want to give Stetson a chance for a 5th and deciding set.
So right now, Florida Gulf Coast will really be focused on, we're going to do it right now. We don't want to have we don't want things to go on longer than they need to go on.
The story of this match has been, thanks to Holm and Olivia Messner, the blocks. 11 points off blocks for Florida Gulf Coast.
That's a very good blocking differential for Florida Gulf Coast, and you'd expect them to be ahead on blocks. So
Kayla Weller, who came out for a brief stint in the third set, the setter, will start set number 4 for the Hatters of Stetson. Nice dig by Masters, but an ace for Weller. That's her second of the match.
Yeah, and she's a very good server, and you see a great example of starting out with an ace is always a nice thing to do if you're the Stetson Hatters.
Number 36 on the year. Caitlin Holm after the dig. Good use of the block. And Caitlin Pruitt, who hasn't played very often, today comes up with a kill, and it's 2-0 Stetson.
Yep.
Good serve by Weller. Mambuka misses. 3-0 Stetson. Nice run to start the third set.
Well, you can be in a situation where, if you're a team that's ahead like Florida Gulf Coast, you'd almost kind of go, okay, we're going to win this, aren't we? And Stetson's just not that kind of team that's going to go very easily down. Wow.
Very nice finish. Makes it 4-0.
Well, nice put away by Kramer, but that was a diggable ball by Florida Gulf Coast, and good start for the Hatters.
Excellent serving by Weller, her second ace in this run. Timeout by Florida Gulf Coast.
About as fast as you're going to see a timeout called, and clearly Dave Nichols not happy with how things started out here, because he has to remind his team, they can and they will come back.
The first 5 points run off by the Stetson Hatters. 2 aces by their sophomore setter, Kayla Weller, one of our key players at the start of the match. We'll see how this goes in a moment on ESPN 3.
Championship action is when the ASUN is at its finest. That's why you'll want to visit asunphotos.com. ASUN Photos is present at every ASUN championship, capturing the action, including those must-have shots you may have missed or want to save for a memory. We understand your passion, so when you're ready to relive those favorite moments, players, and special memories, start with the experts from asunphotos.com. For 35 years, the Atlantic Sun Conference has supported its member institutions in their commitment to the hard work, dedication, and determination of building winners for life. As the ASUN aggressively seeks to expand opportunities, its student athletes and the institutions they represent stand among the nation's best in academics, athletics, and service to their communities. At the ASUN, the aim is the successful balance of student and athlete. The Atlantic Sun Conference, at its best, building winners for life.
Stetson trying to even this match at 2 apiece. Atlantic Sun Women's Volleyball Quarterfinals. They've run off the first 5 points and the third ace in this 6-point run by setter Kayla Weller.
And that ball kind of bent back inside. I thought it was going way wide, and it turned and went back inside. Nicely struck by Weller.
And another good serve will make for a tough ball for Gigi Meyer. Good dig by Masters. Mambuka misses 7-0 Stetson.
Wow. You talk about a turnaround from the last set. This is a very, very strange match right now.
Second hitting error by Mambuka in this sequence, but Weller gives it back. And that's a point you can afford to give up after that kind of run.
At that kind of run, you've earned the right to miss a serve, frankly. And she missed it, but she was serving tough balls all the way.
And mixing it up, she went deep, she went down the line, she went short. There's Caitlin Holm. Good dig by Masters. Good bump set.
Free ball. Wow.
Excellent dig. Barnes. Kramer. Real good finish.
Oh, I'll say. Stetson did a great job that time after the long rally. And again, the long rallies, of course, to their liking. But I'm not sure how to predict an 8-1 start for either side.
8th kill for freshman Tiffany Kramer. So that's their second straight service error.
Yeah.
And their 8th of the match. It's a lot.
It is a lot.
They want to serve aggressively. We talked about that at the top.
Yeah, absolutely.
Block off of Barnes' hands to give Stetson the point. That was Caitlin Pruitt, who's come off the bench and done a nice job. Third kill without an error. She is just a sophomore for a fairly young Stetson team.
Very much so.
Ellen Hawks, Kaylee Melville, the two seniors on the roster. Both are in right now. Olivia Messner with the finish.
And that particular attack sequence has been very good for Florida Gulf Coast. That speed attack sequence out of going for side out plays off the serve has been very, very effective.
Tied for the match lead with 13 kills is Messner. Off the free ball, the finish by Pruitt again. Stetson back up by a touchdown.
Wow.
Try to even this match at 2 sets apiece.
That's the last thing the Florida Gulf Coast wants to see is this thing go to 5.
Rare hitting error. Boy, great effort by Masters, but unable to save it. And a good serve. Masters has had 26 digs in the match, so she's played well defensively.
Very well defensively. Bring a lot of balls up.
Good finish by Barnes.
Well, Barnes was having no more of that. She was basically saying, if you can block this ball, that's fine, but I don't think you can get up this high, and I don't think anybody else in the court can.
And she departs as in to serve is Christine Pinder. And a nice finish by the senior Melville. So we go back and forth with side outs, and when you're down 7, that's not the way you want to go if you're Gulf Coast.
It's very difficult for Florida Gulf Coast. They've already dug themselves off of Weller's initial serving run. They've dug themselves such a deep hole that this siding out right now just plays perfectly into the hands of Stetson.
Home from the 10-foot line. Good wide set to Kramer, off the block. Point for Stetson. They're up 9.
You know, up 9 doesn't sound like a lot, 25-point game, but it's rapidly adding up to a really almost impossible spot for Florida Gulf Coast. However,
that's 3 service errors in the set.
Yeah.
3 of the 5 points that Gulf Coast has are on errors on serves.
Yeah.
So here's a chance for Olivia Messner and company. But she gives it right back.
Wow. I'm sure Coach Nichols is kind of wondering, okay, where was the team that just got through playing so well, 1 set ago? They've left. and they've left these different people in the court. I don't understand.
Not a real good set by Gigi Meyer. Leads to a free ball. 15-5 Stetson. Another timeout for Florida Gulf Coast.
Got no choice. He's down right now 10 points with 10 to go. I mean, when you look at it with just doing the math, right now what has to happen is Florida Gulf Coast needs 20 points to win, and Stetson needs 10, and differential is very difficult to fathom. So this is going to go, I think, going to go 5.
In your mind right now, I mean, this is the way that Stetson passed or didn't pass in set 3. That's kind of been Gulf Coast in set 4, hasn't it?
It really has been. It's very strange. As I said, this is a very strange match because it seems like each team, as they change side, takes on a whole different personality, which I know sounds very ludicrous, but it just seems like that. Now, I give Kayla Weller a lot of credit for starting this out with a bang because she came out serving rockets. And I think she basically said, if we're going to go down, we're going to go down swinging. And I'm not going to lose in close to my hometown because she literally went to school about 5 miles from here at Sandy Creek High School. So she just said, we're not going to go down without really a fight. So this is really an interesting match. Not the most artistic match you're ever going to see, but very interesting to watch as a spectator in our sitting where we're sitting, Neil. Back and forth we go.
Alexa Drost, the libero, serving. Masters the dig. Holmes off the block, and the kill. Match high 14th kill for Caitlin Holm. The setter, Gigi Meyer. Now serving. Good use of the block by the freshman Kramer.
Kramer has really been on a tear this set. She has come out really serving good balls.
She gets her 10th kill of the match. Leading Stetson. And there's Weller, who's been a terrific server, but she's now misfired twice in a row.
Well, again, you basically are saying I'm going to go for tough serves and I'm going to miss some. And it's unfortunately the nature of the beast.
There's Caitlin Holm. Her third double-double of the year today. Good save by Florida Gulf Coast. Kramer blocked nicely by Moeller and Mambuka.
And Michelle Prater is going to have a word with the official, or with the captain. Because it's the second time now the players being cautioned for talking through the net.
I think it was Marlena Moeller after the block.
You are right, and that is something that the referees do not like. And I know Michelle Prater very well as an official, and she fished it at the international level, and you simply don't have it. It's just not what you want to see.
That'll go back to Stetson. Nice job on the backslide there by Erica White. Mambuka with the finish.
Well, when the Eagles pass, their offense is extremely impressive. But this set has been one where, except for a small spurt, they have simply not been in any kind of shape to set anything except just, kind of rescue plays for their hitters.
Free ball. Messner blocked, though, and Stetson up 18-9.
Well, Coach Nichols has already used both his timeouts, so it's going to be interesting to see from this point forward what happens. But right now, down by 9 with 7 to go, you got to like Stetson's chance of making this into a 5-set match. You really do.
First time we're seeing Evan Dickerson, a lefty, serve. Messner with the tip, had no choice. Timing wasn't there. Roll shot by Kramer. Here's Barnes with a big swing. Off Kramer. Point for Florida Gulf Coast.
Barnes' kills are slowly adding up.
It's her 8th.
Not been maybe one of her better matches at an attack perspective, but she can really bring the heat.
And a good serve. The ace makes it a 7-point match. But that's really where we started. It was 7-0 to begin this fourth set.
Sure was.
And it's still a 7-point
match. It's off in rally score volleyball, Neil. It is really hard to mount a comeback. I mean, it can be done, but it takes serving rockets or having your opponent make a lot of unforced errors.
And there's one for Stetson that makes it a 6-point match. One more, and we may see Tim Lesh use his first time out.
We may see Tim Lesh say, enough is enough. We worked too hard to get ahead.
Mambuka with the serve. Backslide to Hawks. Nice dig, but no communication.
Wow.
I got it, you take it.
I tell you, it's very surprising a team as experienced as Florida Gulf Coast having these kind of communication issues. Because typically speaking, you have one or the other player really take on a leadership role out there in that situation.
Michelle Kastner, defensive specialist, serving. Good serve to Mambuka. Back row attack. Messner through the block. Good save. Kramer rolls it. Not much choice there for Barnes.
Nope.
And off the antenna.
Off the antenna, and that's going to go back to Florida Gulf Coast.
So Christine Pinder in for Jessica Barnes to serve now. And they really need a run at this point.
You got to have a run because you run out of time. Down 6 with only 6 to go for Stetson.
Caitlin Holm is back in with Messner. They have their best 2 hitters up front.
Not passed well.
Roll shot. Holm should get a chance. Oh, didn't get a good pass.
Nope.
Free ball. She'll get another opportunity. Messner through the block with a backslide.
Nicely done. And there's that timeout you spoke of, Neil, because Tim Lesh saw this was not going. He's starting to feel this one slipping away. It all has to do with ball control on his side right now.
Dave Nichols talking to his troops. Again, they were down 7-0 to start this fourth set. Stetson won set 1, Gulf Coast the next 2. As we take a look at some of the honorees in the Atlantic Sun. They all came from the top 3 teams in the conference. Not a big surprise. And we'll see Lipscomb in the next quarterfinal.
And we'll see the young lady Caitlin Dotson play, and Jewel Dobson a unanimous selection. And you can always tell when a player has earned the respect of the other coaches when you see those kind of things posted up there. And certainly understand Jewel Dobson, boy, she can take over a match by herself. So no surprise there.
She was the player of the year. Bree McCombs was the libero of the year. So they had the best hitter, in essence, and the best defensive player.
That's a pretty nice combination. If you can do that, you've had a pretty good year.
Very balanced season for Lipscomb. They were 3rd in the conference, but really the top 3 teams there was very little separation.
Very close, yes.
So off the timeout, Pinder continues to serve. Weller, quick ball. Masters the dig. Not a good ball for Messner to hit. Free opportunity in transition. Pinder the dig. Now Holm out wide. Good tip, but into the block.
Right into the block that time and into the defense.
And Mambuka can't save it.
And that's point 20 for Stetson. And only 5 to go, being up 6.
That inability to get the good pass to Holm, that was a critical 2-point swing. So.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And again, we haven't called Holm's name very much in this set. And it's just because they have not been able, Florida Gulf Coast not passing long enough to get the ball to her.
Kramer with a good tip.
Oh, that's smart. That's a smart play. She has had a very, very nice set.
11 kills now in the match.
Oh, yeah.
8 digs in the match, 3 blocks.
Pretty nice for a freshman to be doing what she's doing, because the future is very bright for Stetson, I would say.
Good short serve. Forced to tip is Holm. Kramer wide.
Yep. And it started out with a good serve. That short serve can really screw you up offensively, and it almost did to Florida Gulf Coast. They rescued themselves out of it, but still, you know, it was a nice idea by Stetson to go short like that.
Another miss.
No?
Oh, no, he got the line.
Apparently so.
Boy, look wide from
now
our
we
angle.
got some.
We're going to change the call?
Apparently so.
So the point does go to Florida Gulf Coast.
It does. I thought I saw Michelle Prater putting her arm the other way, but, you know, things do change. Nice
Good
rescue.
save. But to finish even better by the senior Melville. Stetson is 3 points away from a fifth and deciding set. Again, this is our opening match of the Atlantic Sun Volleyball Tournament. This is a sign of what we're going to have to come. It's going to be a good tournament.
we could be here for a while. And the Kennesaw State fans are starting to file in for the match they think is going to start, you know, a little bit later, but not so much. And once again. Wow.
Receiving the story of this fourth set for Florida Gulf Coast.
Yeah.
They've really struggled in that area. Here's Alexa Drost again. Nice short serve. Meyer makes the best of it, and a good finish by Caitlin Holm.
When you get a good pass, Caitlin Holm and Olivia Messner have been extremely good. Throw Jessica Barnes in for good measure. And Florida Gulf Coast has plenty of offensive weapons, but you can't use them if you can't pass. You just can't use them.
Gigi Meyer. Kramer blocked. Backslide, another good block by Holm and company. Free ball. Erica White blocked.
Good defensive work by Florida Gulf Coast.
But finally through the block, Kramer gets the point for Stetson, and it's a set point.
Now again, those, going back to what we talked about up front, Neil, those long rallies have, for the most part in this match, almost always favored Stetson.
And another ace for the sophomore from Marietta, Kayla Weller, and we will have a fifth and deciding set.
Every coach's worst nightmare if you thought you were going to win quickly.
So 25-17, Stetson knots up the match. We'll come back with a fifth and deciding set in just a moment. You're watching the Atlantic Sun Women's Volleyball Tournament on ESPN3.
After the Kia Optima was ranked most appealing midsize car by J.D. Power and Associates, there was only one thing to do: make it even more appealing. So we added 18-inch chrome wheels, an electronic parking brake, and premium Napa leather trim seats. Introducing the new Optima Limited. It's everything that made the Optima great, and then some.
He's a streetwise renegade cop. He's a fire-breathing goat. But when they get together, you better look out. This fall, there's only one team that makes the bad guys feel the heat.
Having that dream again.
Live out your dreams. Play Keno and win up to $100,000 only from the Georgia Lottery.
Shopping for a diamond? Most jewelers buy their diamonds from middlemen who've already marked up the prices, and the jeweler passes those markups on to you. Fortunately, there's a jeweler who cuts out the middlemen and their markups and buys their diamonds directly from the diamond cutters. So, instead of passing markups on to you, they pass savings on to you. For a diamond that sparkles beautifully at a price that will amaze you, come to Shane Company. We're a cut above.
Here are the rules for a fifth and deciding set in NCAA volleyball. Again, this is the first match of the quarterfinals of the Atlantic Sun Tournament. Neil Solons and Phil Bush with you. They'll switch sides when one team hits 8, and you see how these teams have fared. When getting to 5 sets, Gulf Coast, the more veteran team, probably expected to have the better record, and they do.
They do, sure. But you know what's interesting about the fifth set as fast as rally score volleyball is, Neil, fifth deciding sets go at lightning pace, and you see fast timeouts called by coaches because they have no choice but to stop momentum before it gets going because it gets out of control way too quickly.
Last two 5-set matches in the first round of the Atlantic Sun Tournament have gone to East Tennessee State, which got a bye in the opening round this year. They beat Kennesaw State in 2011. They beat Mercer in 2008. Both times it was a 5 seed against a 4 seed. Stetson trying to pull off the upset as the 5 seed against the 4 seed, Florida Gulf Coast. Stetson hit nearly 300 in that 4th set. Gulf Coast just 115.
And all I had to do with first contact. You do not control first contact. That being the serve or that being the pass, you can't win. And Florida Gulf Coast, I mean, I hate to say it, but they know what they were doing right. These are things they practice every day in terms of first contact, in terms of passing. And they just simply did not pass well enough to win that set.
That's going to be Gigi Meyer serving. Her dad, again, the head coach in football for Ohio State Urban, did come to one of her matches during the course of this year.
That's neat.
During a bye week. Tip to start. Meyer to home. Good block. And Stetson scores the first point.
And it's almost like blocks count double, because they count for points like that in a situation like this. I know that doesn't make any sense because it's not real, but I think you know what I mean, Neil, is the momentum is so fluid.
Kayla Weller with a miss. She has 5 aces in the match, but she's also had a handful of service errors, too.
She has. Overall, though, she's really done her job pretty effectively as a setter in terms of controlling the flow of the offense.
37 assists overall. Good serve by Caitlin Holm. Very good dig by the setter Meyer.
So net violation. Yep, interesting. Don't see many of those called on Florida Gulf Coast. They're a pretty skilled blocking team, but every error just kind of feels like it counts double.
So now Stetson, which is not trailed in this 5th set, but 2-1 early. They were in control in set 4. Winning 25-17, they scored the first 7 points of that 4th set to even the match. No question on who is substituting in.
Looks like Tim Lush is now going to be asking for a lineup check for his team because I got a feeling he is thinking his team is in one situation and his team is not in that situation from a lineup. He's asking for next server, which every coach can do in every situation, because he's looking like he may have gotten his team in a bit of trouble there.
Stetson is in the postseason for the first time since 1995.
That's a long time.
And they had one of the biggest jumps in terms of wins in the country. They won just 4 matches last year.
Wow.
They've won 18 this year. It was the 4th best improvement in the country behind Howard of the MEAC, Tulane, and Jacksonville, which won the top seed.
Yeah, that's very impressive work by Tim Lesh and his staff. And Tim's got a great track record in coaching. So a nice job here.
It's at Limestone in the Carolinas in Division II before coming to Stetson for his first head coaching job in D1. The server is Evan Dickerson, the lefty.
Back row.
And Holm off the net to tie it.
Said you give Katie Holm or Olivia Mesner or Jessica Barnes, that's 3 monster hitters on the Florida Gulf side. If the ball is passed, the ball is going to go down.
Whitney Masters, who's done great as libero today with a good serve. Free ball. They'll go wide to Kramer, off the block.
And Kramer, the last couple of sets, has been very, very much one of the best hitters on the floor, Neil. She's really been effective.
Her 13th kill. So back and forth we go. Stetson now on the point again. Good job by Mambuka with the reception and the finish.
Nicely done. And again, like I said, once the ball is passed, it's only a question of when it's going to go down for the Eagle for Florida Gulf Coast. Not a question of it's a question of who's going to put it down and when's it going to go down. But their passing has been very much up and down this entire match.
And Mambuka misses on the serve.
Yep.
So they trade side outs.
And many times a serving run will basically, much as Wellers did in that last set, ignite a team, and especially in set 5, boy, oh boy, can that be big.
Terrific save, free ball. In transition, Barnes, off the block. Her 9th kill.
Very nicely done. Hawks that time with a nice try at the block, but Barnes brings a tremendous amount of heat with her swings.
So we've been tied at 1, 2, 3, and now 4 in the 5th and deciding set. Winner on to the semis. Good dig. Good roll.
Going to be a free ball back to the Stetson though.
Melville. Good bump set.
Wow.
Nice dig. Messner, good tip, but Hawk saves it. Melville, good dig. Masters, great rally. Back row. And the finish by Hawks.
Again, I'd love to have a statistic on the long rallies when the ball goes back and forth across the net multiple times, Neil, but I'm willing to bet 80 plus, maybe 90% of those rallies has gone to Stetson. It is their style of volleyball to play the long rally.
And they're back up by a point as the libero, Alexa Drost, will serve. Sophomore from Nevada. Misses. Another service error for Stetson.
And whether or not there was a missed serve, it looked to me like the referee was about to call Stetson for being out of rotation, because Tim Lesh is back over talking to the second referee now and looking at his lineup with the referees. That's usually a sign that somebody's in the wrong spot on the floor. Don't know that for a fact, but I'm just telling you that's kind of what you think at this point.
Tim Lesh in midcourt having a discussion about that.
Going back over to Florida Gulf Coast regardless. And a timeout probably not a bad idea by Tim Lesh, because maybe his team's out of position, but maybe he's got to kind of get him regrouping.
We'll come back with more of this 5th and deciding set in the first match of the Atlantic Sun Tournament quarterfinals right after this on ESPN 3. We've been tied at 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 now in the decisive 5th set in the first quarterfinal of the Atlantic Sun Volleyball Tournament. The Olivia Messner is set to serve. And out of the timeout, Stetson still isn't quite sure who's supposed to be on the floor.
I got to tell you, it's a little unusual for a team this veteran and this, and Tim Lesh has had to call his second timeout, Neil, which he now has no more timeouts left. Wow. You just don't see this happen.
And this is a vet, even though it's his third year at Stetson, he's a veteran coach.
He's a veteran coach with a pretty veteran team around him. I know it's their first time in postseason play, but you just don't expect this to happen this way. It's very unusual. And they're still, now Doug Darling, the second referee over there, looking at the lineup, and I'm sure as soon as he gets out of that tunnel with his team, Doug Darling's going to be back talking to Tim Lesh again about who's supposed to be where on the floor. But, what Tim Lesh is now, the real problem here is without any timeouts left, the only way he can control the fate of the game is to make substitutions. That's all Tim Lesh can do now. So he's done. Wow.
Florida Gulf Coast serving for the lead. Lipscomb of the host school Kennesaw State to follow. It will be a 30-minute period between the end of this match and the start of the next quarterfinal. So here is Olivia Messner. Good deep serve, good block, free ball. Home. Off the block for the kill.
It's only a 1-point margin, but you know what? That means a lot right now because Stetson still has to kind of regroup themselves.
First lead for Gulf Coast in this fifth set. Meyer with a good set wide to Home again. Off the block. And another kill.
Home closing in on that magic 20 kill number, and you get to 20 kills in just about any kind of volleyball match, you've had a nice match.
19th kill of the match. Next point for Gulf Coast, they switch sides. Good serve.
Saved
good
by
tip.
Weller somehow.
Here's Home again. No choice but to roll it back. Free ball leads 4 points for Stetson. Back to a 1-point game. Julie Bassett with the finish. And that's her first kill of the match. Boy, you're talking about timing.
Yeah.
Senior Ellen Hawks. Big part of the turnaround to serve. Home with the dig. Moeller with the big swing. The freshman Kramer off the block.
Oh, that's smart. Taylor Weller with a smart play. Nothing fancy. Ball coming over. She saw an open spot in the floor. Tapped it Stork. Very nicely done.
Sixth tie of the fifth and decisive set. Not a good pass.
No.
Tipped. Good save. Another good save. Free ball. Home should get a chance. Good dig by Hawks. Kramer. Moeller out of bounds. They'll switch sides, and Stetson has the lead.
And after that double timeout called by Stetson, I really wouldn't have thought that was going to happen. I really thought they might have been in deep trouble, but give them credit. The Hatters just keep coming.
They're very, very gritty, aren't they?
They just keep coming. It's not pretty, but they just keep seeming to find a way.
Senior Ellen Hawks to serve. Mambuka pass was not that good. Good save by Masters, free ball. Another good
Masters.
dig. Here's Messner. Rolled into the block. But a point for Florida Gulf Coast.
A long rally for a change did not go for Stetson's way. It went to Florida Gulf Coast, but here we are at 8. 7 points to go, and both sides with an equal chance to get those 7.
Tie number 7 in the 5th set.
Oh, man.
No one wants to lose. Kramer with a real good swing, good block. Tip shot.
That's a nice play by Pender in the back row. This is a smart play because, you know, when you're in the back row, she couldn't attack in front of that 10-foot line. Did a really nice job of just keeping underneath it and putting it in a good spot on the floor.
Masters her 34th dig.
Wow. Oh, my.
Back row. Free ball.
Yeah.
Transition.
Big turnaround here.
Oh, had a better chance. Now a big swing by Kramer.
Missed.
10-8, Gulf Coast with their second 2-point lead of this 5th set, and Stetson has no more timeouts.
Exactly. It's all on the floor now for the Hatters. There's nothing left that they can do except maybe make substitutions to slow the course of this down.
Not a good pass, blocked nicely. It'll be a free ball. Secondary set. Messner off the block.
Oh, that's pretty.
What a nice pass by Whitney Masters.
Now, ordinarily, I don't talk about zones in this situation, but right now, Florida Gulf Coast is up 3 with only 4 to go. And so they're pretty much close. One more point for sure. They're in the zone.
Good finish.
But just as soon as I say that, here come the Hatters yet again.
Erica White. Timeout Florida Gulf Coast. We have a 2-point game again.
Well, interesting timeout by Dave Nichols, but I think it's a good one that he calls because he wants to, coming out of this timeout, be sure he has his offensive sets pretty well figured out about where the ball's going to go, and he wants to remind his team of the importance of first contact. You got to control the first ball because everything is almost like it counts double right now.
And if you get it in the hands, if you do control that first ball, get it to Caitlin Holm, who has 21 kills, or Messner, who has 14. You got a great chance to win the match.
Great chance to win the point. And, so I'm sure this was just hey, let's not let them come back again.
And it also comes at a point where...
and that's one other reason. Guess who's back serving for Stetson?
Kayla Weller, who has 5 service aces today.
And a whole batch more very tough service. Sometimes we don't call them all service. They're certainly service aces. Service winners take a team out of their offense, and Weller's had a bunch of those today.
39 aces now in the year for Weller. She had 3 in one sequence. Nice dig by Holm. She'll get it back.
There it is. It's exactly what Dave Nickel called on the bench, I promise you. He wanted that ball over there. And now officially, Florida Gulf Coast up 3 with 3 to go. They're in the zone.
And it's Holm who's gotten better with each passing set to serve. Deep serve. Backslide. Meyer with a bump set. Barnes. The freshman Kramer with a tip. Masters with a bump set. Barnes big swing and a nice double block.
Wow.
Caitlin Pruitt.
That's impressive because I didn't see that one coming. So I thought that when you got Barnes up there, you got a pretty good shot at getting that point. So credit Stetson once again for not giving up on the point.
Erica White to serve. Again, winner moves on to the semis. They'll take on the top seed Jacksonville. Good middle hit. And a quick up for Meyer.
All about control. And when you've got ball control on your side, you've got everything if you're Florida Gulf Coast. What a first match we've had here. My, oh my.
Good finish by the senior, Kaylee Melville.
She's not quite ready to finish her career off just yet.
Well, it was an excellent pass, too, to Weller.
Great pass. That'll be her 10th kill. check that 11th kill, excuse me.
To go along with 23 digs.
Wow. But make no mistake now, each of these points is just so important now, especially for Stetson being the team that trails.
More questions on who is supposed to be on the floor of the rotation here.
I am telling you, it's a validation. You can always ask the referee, are we in the right spot before the point? That avoids you getting that dreaded out of rotation call. Well passed by Masters.
And then look at the finish. They've run that twice in a row.
And guess where we are?
Match point.
Wow.
Match point.
Now comebacks at this time are, three-point comeback isn't that big a deal, honestly, but. Free ball.
Pass.
That's it. Wait a minute. That is a block over called. And Dave Nichols is about to lose his mind over on the bench, but basically he's confirming that was indeed the call. It was blocking over. You cannot block a set. You must allow the player who is going to set to have the opportunity to set, and that's what the call was. So a point back to Stetson.
It was a very tight pass, so it was going to be very tough for Weller to do something with it.
Yeah, but she has to be given the opportunity.
Barnes for the win.
There it is. Wow. My, oh my, what a match. I mean, again, people can look at the box score and wonder, but you don't the effort and the intensive of play of both these teams. Barnes, right past the block and down the line. Nicely done.
And flipped the net too. That didn't hurt as well.
Oh.
Gigi Meyer and even 50 assists in a 5-set match. Wow. Florida Gulf Coast will take on Jacksonville in the semis tomorrow. We still have another quarterfinal tonight. The Eagles advance. Terrific effort by Stetson. Our next match will be in about a half hour between Lipscomb, the 3 seed, and the host school in Kennesaw State. To watch this match on replay or others on the family of ESPN networks, log on to watchespn.com or download the Watch ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN, and from my partner Phil Bush and our entire crew, Neil Solons from Kennesaw, Georgia. Florida Gulf Coast wins it on ESPN 3.